dropped it right on my toe. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. When things start to go south in America, these are some guys I'm going to be hanging out with right here.
You got that, bro. You want to be on the winning team, hang with
me. That's it.
Ain't no paper champion here, bro.
The real Americans. You know, freedom in America wasn't free. It had to be fought for, it had to be bled for, and it has continuously died for the freedoms that we enjoy. In the face of enemies. We're in the face of an enemy right now. We are in the face of the enemy right now that's holding office. It's only going to go so far. We're going to fight and get it back. Too big a price has been paid to protect, honor, and uphold the Constitution. Ain't nobody going to change it. Maybe temporarily, but it'll go back. Real Americans won't let it change. They'll let it fester. But anyways, it's a little off the subject. Last night I watched, by the way, Caroline's not here, she's not feeling good, so lift her up in your prayers, those of you that pray. Well, and those of you that are born again, because if you're not born again and you're praying, it ain't heard. So get saved, then pray for Caroline. Then God will hear it, otherwise you ain't going to hear it. But last night we were watching a TV show called Intervention, where they intervene with addicts and work to get them to a spot to where they'll go to rehab. And there's a story about a mother and her son. And the mother was abused by her stepfather. In fact, lost her virginity to her stepfather, and her mother didn't do anything about it. In fact, at the trial, she kind of took his side or didn't defend her or whatever. So she's held all kinds of animosity in her heart, and bitterness and unforgiveness, and she medicated herself through the years. And then her son, she had a son and a daughter, and both of them were taken away from her. The son comes back after 9 years, and he's a young guy, and she's basically turned him into an alcoholic. They're drinking buddies, and she's a mess. She's a complete mess. Anyways, they do the intervention, all that stuff. And she's fighting it big time, and then she agrees, and she goes to rehab for 90 days in-house. And they showed her, man, and it was amazing, the physical change in her, the physical change, that it was just incredible, man. And Caroline and I both were like, man, it's amazing, the physical change. It just, life comes back into their eyes. And then she left rehab and went and lived in a halfway house, or a sober living environment. She lived there for a while, and then it came on at the end and said she went back to drinking. The son didn't. The son stayed sober. But that's my question to you today. Do you need a spiritual intervention? I mean, have you gotten lackluster, that there are certain things in your life that you've turned over to the world? In other words, you got God compartmentalized over here, but you're of the world in a bunch of other areas. TV shows you watch, movies you watch, music you listen to. Are you in the world to where if God was totally number one in your life, those things wouldn't be there? Well, then maybe you need a spiritual intervention. Maybe you need a break. Maybe you need to totally get away from all those things that are pulling you away from Jesus. And concentrate on, go willingly into the desert to spend time just with Jesus and get right with Him and form that bond, deepen that bond. Invest in your relationship. And sometimes that means cutting everything else off for a time. And you'll see, because the big thing that I wanted to share this morning is if you say you're a born-again Christian, number one, you needed to have an encounter with God to make that happen, a salvation moment. And the other thing is, what in your life has changed since you became saved? If everybody around you looks at you and nobody notices any difference in you, you better... If I'm betting heavy you ain't saved. You haven't surrendered to God. I mean, you've kind of like said, okay, God, I kind of like you a little bit, it sounds good and all, I'll try and be good, whatever, but God hasn't made his home in you, because when God makes his home in you, you're going to change, period, end of story, big time, because God's inside of you. And people can't help but notice. You're not going to try to be different than people notice. You just are going to be different than people are going to notice. So, do you need to be extracted from your environment as much as possible? Do you need to be extracted from your lifestyle? Do you need to go into an intense spiritual rehabilitation? I know I did. That's why I spent my time on the road as a truck driver. I was in spiritual rehab. Big time. And it made an impact on my life that'll last forever. If you need it, do it. Only one life. Jesus is coming back soon. And when he does, you don't get a second chance. So you better take advantage of it now while your heart's beating and while you're listening to this. From this moment forward, surrender your life to Jesus. God bless you. What are you waiting for? Yoke up.